My name's Miles, Daniel Miles, and this is a retro dunking and for your eyes only. Let's break it down. In a bid to stop a top secret piece of British military hardware falling into the hands of the Russians, James Bond is forced to team up with the most legendary pistachio smuggler in the world. After the mess that was Moonraker, James Bond was strictly ordered to come back to Earth. There are no gadgets in this film. The only time that Bond uses anything remotely close to a gadget is a car that promptly gets blown up, a message that this is a more realistic Bond. The guy who James Bond kills in the pre-credit sequence is not Ernst Stavro Blofeld, it's Bernd Stavro Lofeld, because, well, James Bond didn't have the rights to him at the time. So they promptly killed off a man with a cat who addresses James Bond as Mr. Bond, and hope we all took the hint. Now this film itself, it's a lot more grounded, a lot grittier. Bond is realistic, he feels fear, although it does have the most awkward James Bond girl of all time in Bibi. A young girl who develops a massive crush on Bond, and she's unfortunately really integral to the plot. Now, we know that she's young in the film, but in the novel she's revealed to be only 16. I mean, Bond does turn her down, but even so, she could have been removed or aged 10 years, or just something, because that's really, really awkward. Now this film was also a lot less globe-trippy than other Bond films, mainly because the budget was pretty limited. The parent company that makes the Bond films was actually on the verge of bankruptcy at the time, and this film saved the company. It's also the first time that a sitting Prime Minister has been a part of the James Bond universe, as an actress portraying Margaret Thatcher makes a small cameo at the end. Now this film, it's not beyond being silly. It does use a parrot as a plot device. It also features yet more underwater sequences, because no one's yet worked out that these are dull, slow and uninteresting. That said, there's a lot to like here. The stunts are good, the ski chase are good, there's some actually genuine tense moments in this. And for once, the villain's plan is actually conceivable. The Russians want a piece of military hardware that could potentially compromise Britain's nuclear defence. Brilliant! This is a good plot. It's a good, solid film. It's a welcome change after the horror that was Moonraker. This film also features a femme fatale, Melina Havelock, who decides to use a bow and arrow and to try and take down Bond's villain herself. And they keep bumping into each other and now more or less forced to team up because Bond can't stop her and she's going to get herself killed. So he takes her under his wing to help her defeat the main villain, which is a brilliant piece of acting. And it's really, really refreshing to see a Bond girl who could probably pull this off without James Bond assistance, or she'd get herself horrifically killed in the first 5 minutes. Greece looks amazing, although when they were filming the finale at the monastery, the monks took objection to being in a James Bond film and spread linen all over the monastery, ruining the shots. Now the plot is a little bit more twisty-turny than traditional ones. You're not quite sure who's the villain and who's the patsy, which is why I've not referred to the villain in this description. And that's brilliant for once. It is so nice to be unsure of who the villain is in a James Bond film. Normally you just look for the guy twirling his moustache, checking when the train times are. This film is a see-it film. It's an absolutely top James Bond film. He's more of a detective in this one. He's more of an actual human being in this one. Yes, you could cut out BB. Yes, you could cut down some of the chase sequences quite a bit. But the end, the final assault, that is a very tense, very well done scene. I'm Daniel, this is a Retro Donkey. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe.